Today General Hospital will reveal exciting news for the week ahead from September 1st to 5th, 2025. First, during the week of September 1st through September 5th, General Hospital will plunge even deeper into chaos as the aftermath of past actions collides with new revelations. At the center of the week's storylines is the ongoing fallout from Stella Henry's arrest, which shakes her family and threatens to fracture relationships that were already strained. Stella has always been a character who prides herself on her resilience and her belief in justice, but facing the possibility of prison time forces her to confront her vulnerabilities. The anxiety she feels will spill over into those around her, intensifying the family drama. Her fear that her arrest will lead to irreparable consequences makes her scenes both heartbreaking and tense, setting the tone for the week. Curtis Ashford finds himself torn between his desire to protect Stella and his compulsion to retaliate against Drew Cain for his perceived betrayal. Curtis's actions are increasingly driven by emotion rather than reason, and this clouds his judgment. The need to defend his family, combined with his anger at Drew, could lead him down a dangerous path. His willingness to take risks might put him directly in the line of fire, and the more he lashes out, the more he risks losing control over the situation. Viewers will see Curtis wrestling with his instincts and his loyalties, with the possibility that his need for vengeance may ultimately backfire. Portia Robinson's role in the unfolding drama cannot be underestimated. Already feeling cornered, she edges closer to dangerous territory as her frustrations mount. Her connections to Curtis and her own complex relationship with Drew complicate her next steps. If she chooses to retaliate against Drew herself, she may find that her actions spiral beyond her control. Portia has always walked a thin line between reason and impulse. And this week she will face choices that could determine whether she emerges as a voice of caution or a reckless participant in the storm brewing around her family. Meanwhile, Trina Robinson emerges as a young woman caught between loyalty and justice. Witnessing the harm that Drew has caused, she feels an urgency to step into the fray. Trina's emotions, however, are deeply personal, and they cloud her approach to justice. Rather than waiting for the legal system to provide answers, she contemplates more direct action. Her determination to defend her loved ones places her in the dangerous position of taking justice into her own hands. Something that could have far-reaching consequences if she oversteps the boundaries of the law. Kai Taylor is pulled into this conflict at a critical moment. His ties to Drew are undeniable, but Trina's offer presents him with an opportunity to shift allegiances. Kai must decide whether he will remain loyal to Drew or take a risk by aligning with Trina's vision of justice. His inner turmoil is heightened by the lingering question of whether Drew's actions against Stella were intentional or simply collateral damage. The decision Kai makes will likely reshape his relationships moving forward, and his moral struggle adds another layer of tension to an already volatile week. While these storylines dominate the canvas, Britt Westburn prepares to make a bold move of her own. Britt has long been known for her impulsive decisions and her talent for stirring trouble, and the hint that she is about to act decisively sends shockwaves through Port Charles. The specifics of her move remain under wraps, but her reputation suggests that whatever she does will disrupt the balance of power. Whether Britt's actions are motivated by self-preservation, revenge, or an attempt to seize opportunity, her presence ensures that the week will not be without explosive surprises. Willow Tate, however, is facing her own separate crisis that intersects with the legal drama unfolding elsewhere in town. A looming legal issue threatens to upend the fragile peace she has worked so hard to build. Having endured loss and hardship, Willow's new struggle feels especially cruel, testing her ability to hold on to hope. The legal matter could force her to confront truths about her past or face challenges that strike at the very core of her stability. Her vulnerability offers an emotional counterbalance to the aggression and scheming of other characters, making her storyline one of quiet but profound tension. As the investigation into the crime scene progresses, secrets that have been hidden begin to inch closer to exposure. Investigators will uncover evidence that raises new questions about who is truly guilty and who is simply caught in the crossfire. The investigation also serves as a narrative device to bring characters together in unexpected ways, placing them under scrutiny and forcing them to reveal sides of themselves they may prefer to keep hidden. Every revelation deepens the mystery, and the uncertainty keeps everyone in Port Charles on edge. The week will highlight how personal choices intertwine with larger consequences. Each character faces a crossroads, Stella with her fear of prison, Curtis with his thirst for vengeance, Portia with her impulsive instincts, Trina with her need to defend family, Kai with his loyalty dilemma, Britt with her daring move, and Willow with her looming legal challenges. These overlapping crises form a tapestry of drama that ensures the week is packed with both emotional weight and suspense. Tension will mount between families, lovers, and allies as suspicions grow and trust erodes. The ripple effects of Drew's actions are particularly prominent, casting him as a figure whose influence stretches into multiple storylines. Whether intentionally or not, Drew's choices have destabilized the lives of nearly everyone around him, and his ability to maintain control is in question. Each confrontation tied to him escalates the drama further, leaving viewers to wonder how long he can remain at the center without imploding. Amid the chaos, questions of morality dominate the week's themes. What does justice look like when the system feels inadequate? How far should one go to protect loved ones? And when does vengeance cross the line into self-destructs? Characters like Trina and Curtis embody these dilemmas, as their passions threaten to override their better judgment. The tension between law, morality, and personal vendetta underscores the complexity of the storyline and ensures that no resolution will come easily. By the end of the week, the characters of General Hospital are left more entangled than ever, with little certainty about their futures. The promise of justice is shadowed by the risk of downfall, and every bold choice opens the door to unintended consequences. As investigations deepen and bold moves are made, the stage is set for explosive confrontations in the weeks to come. The September 15th episodes ensure that no character escapes unscathed, and viewers are guaranteed a week of drama that challenges loyalties, tests resilience, and reshapes the landscape of Port Charles in unpredictable ways. Second, Elizabeth Baldwin's instincts have always been finely tuned, and in the coming days, her suspicions about Rick Lansing's sudden disappearance will sharpen into a growing unease. She cannot shake the feeling that something far more sinister is at play than what appears on the surface. Rick is not simply a man who vanishes without cause. His history is layered with secrets and manipulations, and Elizabeth knows better than anyone that his absence is not coincidental. Each time she recalls his role in the lives of those around them, particularly his professional connection to Willow, she becomes increasingly certain that his silence hides a disturbing truth. The fact that Rick is Willow's legal representative in her custody case makes his disappearance all the more alarming. Willow is already under enormous emotional pressure, navigating a battle that could decide the future of her family. To lose her lawyer at such a crucial time is more than a personal setback, it throws her entire case into jeopardy. The emotional toll of this sudden uncertainty weighs heavily on her, forcing her to contemplate difficult decisions about whether she must seek out new representation. The timing could not be worse, and the betrayal she feels over Rick's absence compounds her distress. As the days drag on without word from Rick, Willow realizes she may have no choice but to find another attorney to handle her case. Her options, however, are limited, and the urgency of her situation leaves her vulnerable to manipulation. The stress of beginning again with new legal counsel, explaining her case from the start, and hoping the new lawyer can be as effective as Rick threatens to overwhelm her. The fragile balance of her fight for custody now teeters dangerously, leaving her with fewer allies than ever. This sudden turn of events has the potential to ripple outward, sparking anger and frustration in others. Nina Reeves, whose temper is rarely restrained, is likely to react with fury toward Rick. Already skeptical of his reliability, she may seize on this disappearance as proof that Rick cannot be trusted. Her indignation may spill onto Willow, escalating tensions between them as Nina channels her anger into blame. The mounting hostilities add another layer of drama, ensuring that Rick's absence is felt not only by Willow but by the entire web of relationships around her. Ava Jerome, meanwhile, is placed in an uncomfortable position. Nina's tendency to vent her grievances is well known, and Ava may find herself forced into the role of reluctant confidant. Though Ava is hardly one to shy away from drama, the relentless complaints could leave her weary. At the same time, Ava's own instincts may whisper to her that Rick's vanishing act is not a simple matter of negligence but part of a deeper and darker scheme. Her private doubts only deepen her unease, adding to the sense that a secret is lurking in the shadows. Even if Rick manages to send a vague apology through a text message or brief phone call, Elizabeth remains unconvinced. She has been through enough in her life to know when something doesn't add up. A simple excuse will not quiet her intuition, and she begins to watch closely for inconsistencies in his story. Each unanswered question feeds her growing suspicion, and it becomes clear that she will not be satisfied until she uncovers the truth. Her determination positions her as one of the key players who may ultimately expose the dangerous reality behind Rick's disappearance. The question that looms over everything is whether Elizabeth will be the one to discover the imprisonment scheme involving Ava, Christina Corinthos Davis, and Alexis Davis. If Rick has in fact been drawn into a conspiracy that places these women in danger, Elizabeth's resolve could be the turning point that unravels it. Her persistence in seeking answers has toppled secrets before, and this time may be no different. However, her pursuit of the truth could also make her a target, as those behind the scheme grow desperate to keep their secrets buried. Christina Corinthos Davis remains entangled in this shadowy situation, her connection to both her family and Rick complicating matters. If Elizabeth begins to voice her concerns, Christina may find herself facing difficult questions about what she knows and how deeply she is involved. The strain of her potential captivity, coupled with the weight of suspicion from others, creates a dangerous environment where every choice could have lasting consequences. The possibility of her being drawn even further into Rick's tangled mess hangs heavily over her storyline. For Alexis Davis, the stakes are just as high. A woman of intellect and principle, Alexis has faced her share of personal crises, but being caught in a situation tied to Rick's secrets and potential captivity would test her resilience in new ways. Her reputation, her family, and her sense of justice are all at risk. If Elizabeth manages to connect the dots, Alexis may have to face the reality of how deep Rick's manipulations have gone, and whether she has unwittingly become part of a game much larger than herself. Molly Lansing Davis cannot escape the impact of her father's disappearance either. Rick's sudden absence raises troubling questions for her, and as someone who has often strived to reconcile her identity with her complicated family legacy, this situation threatens to destabilize her. Molly may feel anger, confusion, and betrayal as she grapples with the thought that Rick could once again have allowed his darker impulses to dictate his choices. Her doubts may drive her to confront truths she has long tried to avoid, setting the stage for personal growth but also emotional turmoil. The ripple effects of Rick's disappearance reverberate across Port Charles, highlighting the interconnectedness of every relationship. Elizabeth's suspicions ignite the spark, Willow's legal jeopardy intensifies the crisis, Nina's anger fans the flames, and Ava's unease underscores the threat lurking beneath the surface. Each woman's response adds a different shade to the drama, building a multifaceted storyline that draws in both family loyalty and personal vendetta. By the end of the unfolding drama, it becomes clear that Rick's disappearance is not just an isolated mystery, but a catalyst that exposes the fault lines in multiple relationships. Elizabeth's intuition may prove to be the compass that leads to the truth, but the cost of discovery could be high. Willow's future, Nina's patience, Ava's composure, Christina's freedom, Alexis's integrity, and Molly's trust all hang in the balance. What begins as a simple question about Rick's whereabouts grows into a sprawling storyline of suspicion, betrayal, and revelation, promising a turbulent road ahead for everyone involved. Finally, the discovery of a body near the docks by Danny Morgan and Rocco Falconeri immediately casts a heavy shadow over Port Charles. Two young boys stumbling upon such a grim scene is not only traumatizing for them but also serves as the spark that ignites a major investigation. The authorities quickly secure the scene, treating the matter with urgency as speculation spreads about the identity of the victim. The harbor has always been a place of secrets, smuggling, and violence in the town's history, and the reemergence of danger there is a chilling reminder that no one is ever truly safe. As the police investigation begins, detectives focus on piecing together the final moments of the victim's life. Every detail at the crime scene becomes a potential clue, from the placement of the body to any signs of a struggle or traces of evidence left behind. Witnesses are questioned, surveillance footage is pulled, and the air in Port Charles becomes charged with tension. The mystery of who this victim is and what brought them to such a grim end becomes a thread that ties together multiple storylines, drawing characters from very different circles into a shared crisis. Speculation grows even more intense when whispers suggest that the victim could be Colette Moreau. Colette has already entangled herself in dangerous affairs, and if her body is indeed the one pulled from the water, the implications are enormous. The possibility that her death is tied to a confrontation with Jen Sidwell raises immediate suspicions. If she angered him enough to be pushed overboard, then her demise is not just a tragic accident but a calculated act of violence. Such a revelation would ensure that the World Security Bureau takes an active role in the case, given Colette's past involvement with sensitive missions. The WSB's potential entry into the investigation raises the stakes for everyone involved. Once the Bureau steps in, their methods are aggressive and thorough, often leaving chaos in their wake. Port Charles residents know that WSB attention rarely ends quietly, and their interest in Colette's possible death suggests deeper layers to the case. Was Colette working on something important before her disappearance? Did she know too much about the activities of Sidwell or Brennan? These questions swirl as law enforcement and government operatives prepare to clash in their pursuit of answers. Jack Brennan finds himself caught between conflicting responsibilities in the wake of Colette's apparent fate. On one hand, he must confront the mystery of what truly happened to her, whether she was silenced deliberately, or whether she stumbled into trouble she could not escape. On the other hand, his ongoing responsibility to monitor Vaughn and Jocelyn in Croatia adds immense pressure. Brennan's ability to multitask, strategize, and keep both operations under control will be tested, and the stress of balancing two volatile situations threatens to push him to his breaking point. Meanwhile, Britt Westburn becomes a focal point as suspicion and danger converge on the Five Poppies resort. Britt's history of impulsive decisions and her keen instincts combine to drive her into action when she begins to sense inconsistencies in what she sees and hears. The resort, already notorious for its shady dealings and hidden alliances, becomes the stage for her bold moves. Whether she is seeking to protect herself, uncover hidden truths, or intervene on behalf of others, her storyline promises to add heat to the already volatile mix. A key question is whether Britt will rely on Jason Morgan's backup phone, a lifeline provided precisely for such moments of crisis. Using the phone could connect her to help and potentially alter the course of the investigation. Yet Britt's independent streak suggests she may resist calling for assistance, choosing instead to dive deeper into the danger herself. Her decision will shape not only her immediate safety but also the timing of when reinforcements may intervene. Should Britt choose the path of independence, she risks walking straight into chaos. Her search for answers could lead her into direct confrontation with figures like Vaughn or Jocelyn, whose own troubles in Croatia have already escalated beyond control. Being drawn into their turmoil may place her in even greater danger, forcing her to navigate shifting alliances, hidden agendas, and violent threats. What begins as a search for clarity could quickly become a desperate fight for survival. The intertwining of Britt's storyline with Jocelyn and Vaughn's chaos highlights the way danger spreads across Port Charles and beyond. Every character connected to the docks or the resort becomes a potential casualty of the secrets unraveling around them. The overlapping threads ensure that no storyline exists in isolation, with each twist echoing into the others. This interconnectedness amplifies the suspense, making it clear that the resolution of one mystery could explode into new conflicts. The investigation into the body also acts as a catalyst for confrontations among the town's power players. Authorities clash with the WSB, families argue over loyalties, and old rivalries resurface as suspicions mount. Everyone has something to lose if the truth comes to light, and so everyone becomes a potential suspect or at least a potential manipulator of the narrative. These fiery confrontations, both public and private, fuel the drama and keep tensions running high. Danny and Rocco, though children, inadvertently become part of the larger story. Their discovery of the body weighs heavily on them, and their families must contend with the emotional aftermath. Parents and guardians rally around them, but the trauma of the discovery cannot be easily erased. Their role in exposing the crime serves as a stark reminder of how innocence is often shattered in Port Charles, where even children are pulled into the shadows of violence and corruption. As the week progresses, viewers are left questioning whether Colette is truly gone, or whether her death is part of a larger scheme. Soap operas thrive on twists, and the possibility remains that Colette's fate is less straightforward than it seems. Could she have faked her death to escape Sidwell's wrath? Or is she a pawn in a broader WSB plot, her supposed demise merely a cover for something more elaborate? The uncertainty keeps the suspense alive, ensuring that nothing can be taken at face value. The broader implications of the investigation stretch across the canvas, touching lives far removed from the docks. Legal battles, family disputes, and power struggles are all influenced by the fear and suspicion generated by the discovery of the body. The narrative thrives on these ripple effects, ensuring that even characters not directly involved in the investigation find themselves reacting to its consequences. The body at the docks becomes the centerpiece of a storm that no one in Port Charles can avoid. By the end of the week, the threads of investigation, suspicion, and betrayal weave together into a tangled web that leaves more questions than answers. Brit's choices, Brennan's balancing act, Sidwell's potential culpability, and the WSB's involvement all set the stage for explosive revelations yet to come. Port Charles thrives on secrets, but the discovery of a body threatens to expose more than anyone bargained for. The week of September 15th promises to be one of the most dramatic yet, filled with unexpected turns and fiery confrontations. With Danny and Rocco's discovery, Colette's mysterious fate, Brit's daring moves, and the WSB's looming presence, the storyline surges forward with relentless energy. Every character connected to the case faces escalating danger, and viewers are left on the edge of their seats, eager to see how the investigation reshapes the future of Port Charles.